everyone hear me? Cool. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Wanted to introduce myself. I think we can kick it off with a round of introductions. So my name is Isabel. I'm the head of growth management here at Fermat. Fermat is a post-click experimentation platform helping D2C brands turn paid traffic into more purchases through experimentation. So my team partners closely with brands such as Peters and Argent's, which we'll get into in a moment, to help run personalized experiences at scale, help them run experiments off of the main site, and then also drive performance across their funnels. So we brought together two very different but innovative brands today, as we move with Argent and then Peter with 1906. To help unpack what's actually driving e-commerce growth in 2025. So we'll walk through some of their education-led shopping experiences and what's working on the post-click side. Awesome. Well, I would love to pass it over, Arjun, to you first for a brief round of introductions.
Well, thank you guys for having me. My name is Arjun Rastogi. I lead marketing at As We Move. We're a men's performance apparel brand that launched about 5 years ago at the height of COVID. And a lot has changed in those 5 years that we've been running. I'll stop there and I'll let Peter go ahead.
Thanks. I'm Peter Barsu. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of 1906. We are one of the leaders in the cannabis edible space. We started 10 years ago. And over those 10 years, we've expanded across the country into the dispensary channel, across multiple markets. A year and a few months ago, we launched our direct-to-consumer platform, which has completely changed the game for us and for consumers. Our whole thesis is around cannabis as an alternative to alcohol and pharmaceuticals and how you manage the demands of daily wellness. We created the category of what we call functional cannabis, low-dose, controlled-dose products that deliver a specific effect and that are fast-acting. And we have a line of pills, chocolates, gummies, beverages now that really target the things that people are looking for when considering cannabis. Energy, sex, anxiety, sleep, relaxation, pain, and mood enhancement.
Amazing, thank you so much. So I would love to start high level here. As growth marketers in very highly competitive spaces, what are some of the biggest trends that you're seeing in 2025 so far? And how are your brands thinking about solving them?
I'd say one of the biggest trends and challenges that we're experiencing at As We Move is scaling the brand without diluting it. As we all know, cost of acquisition has risen so much, and in that we have to really work hard to earn trust as soon as we can in that process. And a big part of that has been our post-click experimentation, because education at our premium price point is so important. When you look at our product, you might think it's like every other brief. Right now, we started with underwear. Today, we actually just launched our first t-shirt. So it's a big moment for us to move into become a full apparel company. But I'd say with the rising cost of customer acquisition, education only becomes that much more imperative. So we're looking to use education to really curb some of those acquisition costs that we're seeing today.
I think for us, one of the biggest challenges is, number one, that most consumers don't even know that you can buy 100% federally legal cannabis online. So the awareness that you don't have to go to a dispensary or a smoke shop and you can go online and order cannabis products that work for you, that are safe, tested, and 100% legal is the biggest challenge. For us, also, the second biggest challenge is that I hate our reliance on Meta. And I feel like I'm in the drug business, but I don't want to be necessarily hooked to another drug. And Meta is a drug, which is, you feed it comes back and feeds you more. And that heavy reliance on it is just undesirable when building a brand and when building a community. On the flip side of that, it works, and I guess that's why drugs work. So the meta drug works because it continues to feed you back something that seems to be working well, and other channels just don't work as well. So we've continued to sort of say, well, we've got to get out of this rut of being stuck to meta. We try other things, they don't work as well, so then you come back and put more money into meta. And coming out of that circle is what I definitely want to be doing this year, so that it's a channel, not the most important channel. Is where I wish I could be reported if we have this panel discussion 6 months from now.
It's a vicious cycle. Vicious cycle.
For sure. So as you think about some of that educational style content that has worked for both of your brands, how have you approached that with blending that with some of your performance goals?
Yeah, I'd say Fermat has been huge in this aspect. Primarily, our biggest mode of like education is like pre-purchase is Fermat through our educational landing pages. We sell a boxer brief at a $43 price point. For most men today, that is a price point that they've never seen for one of their pairs of underwear. So this is something that education really helps close the gap between the customer's mindset that they've been wearing the same underwear that their fathers have worn, their grandfathers have worn, the same style, the same feeling and everything, and we've kind of flipped that narrative on its head. A big part of as we move and what we believe in what we're educating is that we're a technology and a utility company that happens to make fabric today. And in that fabric, we happen to make underwear, and now we just made a t-shirt. And that list can go on until like swimwear, into pillowcases. So really, when we made technology the hero across the board, really looking into patented design technology, as well as machinery that us and our factory have built together, that has really helped the customer understand why we are priced at that place. And listicle for us has been the primary format that has worked best. And we will continue to iterate on a variety of different types of educational angles that not all men today fully understand as it relates to what they're wearing closest to their skin, and that is like a big goal of what we're trying to change with the mindset.
Yeah, to Arch's point, education is a big challenge, particularly when it's challenging to talk about cannabis online, where you sometimes can't use the word cannabis. So one of the things that Fermat has been great at is the ability to be able to be doing more storytelling that is compliant and allows us to do it in a way that's still within Meta's policies. Meta's policies are unclear, arbitrary, and so they can shut you down one day for saying something that was fine, saying it for the last few months. So we've got to then break out, like really our funnels to our performance ads and creatives really have to get you to the landing page as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So the things that we can do, from a meta creative is more limiting, and then we got to catch you and bring you to the Fermat page where we can do a lot more of that storytelling and that education. One of the challenges is figuring out what your needs are and what your pain points are. And what is your objection? Is your objection that you don't know how it's going to make you feel? Is your objection that you want to know that it's 100% legal and safe from a trusted brand? Cannabis is a confusing mess. And I would say, we're still figuring our way out. It's not that there's one funnel or one channel, but how do we create a series of different funnels that gets to a place where we're addressing your major objections or major questions as quickly as possible without inundating you with, here's the 101 reasons why you should buy 1906, which doesn't work. So I'd say we've still got a ways to go in there. And figuring out that match between the creative that hooked you in and then what is the landing page that's going to convert with you. Just for us as a brand, we've still got a lot more work to do to get that right.
And sorry, I just want to piggyback off of Peter's point here. For our product, launching with underwear, especially a very sheer one, you guys can understand the nature of the product and how Meta's policies have affected us as well. So in the same vein, with compliance issues, we'll wake up and our Hype 10 team will notify us very quickly that there is no spend going in the account. The entire account is shut down. So for us, it's a very big challenge to find the right creative that actually gets people to site and then make sure that they stay there, because if they just look at the photo, you're seeing a beautiful man in a beautiful pair of underwear, and you don't really know what we're doing here. And so once you get there and we get to explain the technical aspects of the technology that we build the product with, the performance gear with, only then does that customer, can they really grasp the thoughtfulness that we've really put into why our product might be priced significantly higher than what they're used to.
Absolutely, definitely at the whim of Meta some days. Awesome. Question was around experimentation and what's the process for figuring out what to test and kind of iterate on next?
Amazing. So we have a couple of unique SKUs that not a lot of other men's brands have. One is what we call the Zero Brief, which is the men's thong. That is a unique cut that we have not seen across the board, and especially in any of the big brand retailers. Your Nikes, your Under Armours, your Calvin Kleins, they don't all have a men's thong ready to be built. And then we just launched the Aero Brief, which is a hybrid, our first hybrid product that really marries the original boxer short as well as a boxer brief. And so those two hero products alone have led us down a path with Fermat that allow us to really test products that don't really necessarily exist in the market elsewhere. So our competition and the customer that we're attracting with creative of an Aero Brief or a Zero Brief really lends well to a different audience that we weren't tapping into before, without the marriage of not only that product and the uniqueness of it, but also the accompanying education that goes along with why does a men's thong exist, and especially in the U.S. compared to other markets, we've seen, the United States at some point, our customer base is 4 to 7 to 10, 15 years behind what Europe is doing. So this is a product that exists in Europe already, and now we're bringing it to the States, and it requires a lot more education to go down that path. So that's really where we start with the testing framework. That's and then we're continuing to build out funnels for each different SKU so that we understand that individual man who is buying an Aero Brief versus Zero Brief are two completely different men, and they deserve to be treated as such. And so we're using accompanying experimentation funnels to help drive that customer story for that individual, because not everyone's the same.
I'd say for us, over the last 15 months when we started our D2C journey, we were testing too much. And so, testing sounds great and can come up with lots of different things and lots of different hypotheses and lots of different ways to engage the customer. One of the things that we've learned over the last, call it 4 months, is have a less ambitious testing agenda. So we've got a line of 7 products, like I said, from energy to sex to anxiety to sleep to pain to mood enhancement. And within each of those different products, there's lots of different things that you could test. And what we decided maybe 6 months ago is let's just get one product right. And so our focus has been on our Bliss product, which is we call that nature's antidepressant. It's the closest thing you can get to legal Molly, and it works great. And the hook, that has generally been there that we focus on is as an alcohol replacement. And then within that alcohol replacement, then what are the different kind of ways in which we can attract customers that way? So by narrowing our testing agenda and really focusing it, that's how we've seen a lot better performance. The idea then is now we're focused on our next product, pain. So we got bliss into a good place, so now we're next focused on pain. And how do we explore all the things that people have issues with pain? Pain is chronic. 55 million Americans suffer from pain. And one of the things that they'll tell you is most of the things that they're doing for pain doesn't work. That's why they're still in chronic pain. So how do we then do that also in a way that is compliant with Meta and compliant with FDA rules? And by taking, I think for us, by being less ambitious in our testing, we've been a lot more successful. And then what drives sort of the testing agenda? First and foremost, it's consumer insights. And that comes from reviews, that comes from surveys that we do of customers, and that just comes from our awareness and the fact that we're in 1,000+ dispensaries. We get also a lot of feedback from that channel. By taking those feedback points in and seeing what's working, then we can ask ourselves, okay, now we're doing stuff around cool moms who aren't drinking, and we're finding that avenue working really well. And then how do we blow that out until it's reached its point of diminishing returns, and then move to the next thing.
Absolutely, yeah, iterating and scaling, definitely. In terms, Peter, going back to your earlier point about some of the tricky constraints around Meta, curious if you have any lessons for brands that are also facing some of Meta's own platform limitations as well.
Well, we have a product called Chill, which is great for anxiety if you're dealing with Meta. Look, I wish I had. I've woken up days which like our Meta account is down and we've got to rebuild it and stuff like that. So I don't have any good words of wisdom there, other than persevere and try and find something else so that you're not so dependent on it. Yeah.
Are there any other channels that are interesting for 1906 right now outside of Meta?
Yeah, I would say, TikTok is very challenging, and frankly, we don't know how to make it work for us. I don't think we're very good at content creation, and we haven't done a great job in engaging content creators to be able to create content to use that channel. Other people are doing it far better, but we just don't have the talent in-house that knows how to do it well. That's something that we need to kind of beef up and figure out how to do, because that's where the interesting conversations are happening, right? Part of what we've got to do is how do we insert ourselves into those conversations about anxiety, about ADHD, about pain, about lack of sleep, about frustration with performance, so on and so forth. I'd say cracking that and figuring out how to engage people in that channel is something that we suck at right now, but we want to get better at. So if anybody here is good at it, come find me afterward.
Awesome, thank you so much. And then, Arjun, I know that your team has been able to cut CAC pretty significantly over the past year or so, while maintaining a lot of premium brand positioning. I know that that's a core kind of ethos of As We Move. What tactics have helped as you walk that line between efficiency and performance, and also luxury branding?
I think at first we were probably pretty resistant to the amount of change between our .com and what a Fermat landing page would look like. Eventually we got to a place where our founder, who comes from a very strong brand background, especially photography for a lot of high luxury premium brands in Europe, he felt, and we felt, that there were a couple moments to help educate the customer in a way that didn't live on our own website. So when we got to the Fermat dashboard and we were able to see, kudos on the redesign, by the way, I love it. Once we got to the landing page, I felt like the quiet confidence and the simplicity with which we were able to explain our product benefits in a listicle format, alongside the embedded PDP and having reviews and kind of all the bells and whistles that we have on our .com, just a lot simpler. And I think that education piece, married with the simplicity of not being too attached to our own brand allowed us to really find a through line in lowering CAC. I think customers at this point, we're all customers of brands. As we open Instagram, as we just mindlessly like swipe through everyone's stories, you come across a sponsored, you know what it looks like, and you know you're gonna kind of swipe quicker on it. And we are marketers in this room, let alone like every other consumer is out there that we are looking to figure out a way to find creative that makes people stop and click. And once they click and they get to a video shop in which we're showing them the same ad again, I think that reinforces it a little bit, and then there's a listicle below that. So I would say like education and listicle is the primary way.
Absolutely. Amazing. We have about 5 minutes left. As we wrap up, Peter, would love to start with you. What e-commerce trends or tools out there are you paying closest attention to as you continue kind of scaling into 2025?
So TikTok is one, and then the second thing is SMS. We've got a lot of restrictions in cannabis around the SMS, so it's not, for us, SMS is not about blasting out marketing messages. SMS is about a tool to have one-to-one customer communications. So we're using our customer service. So I'll give you an example. We have one of our successful acquisition products is called the Discovery Kit, which is a mix of all of our different experiences in our pills that somebody gets. So you get a nice box, it's got 7 different products in there, and using then our customer service agents to engage with the customer over SMS a few days after the order has been delivered, to be like, so did you get a chance to try it? Which one did you like? Can I get you another order of that? That's where I think, so between kind of TikTok from a larger funnel, and then secondly SMS, to be able to have that dialogue with a customer, with a real person. Maybe someday that will get replaced with really good chatbots, but I think we're still a little bit early to do that. Those are the 2 channels that we think are really promising.
Yeah, for us, I'd say AI is huge. As a very small team less than 5 people, we rely heavily on AI usage, especially for copy. And then the creative strategy portion of our panel was really interesting to me because to fuel it with insights constantly and have it learn and become our as we move brain, I think is the eventual goal. We have quite a few customers and friends who work in AI that in their own company, in Netflix, for example, they have their own enterprise open AI where they truly have a Netflix brain. So for internal employees, everyone, whether you're a customer service agent, all the way to a director of finance or marketing, anyone, you can ask your own AI brain what's happening with X, and all of that data is plugged in, and I think that's the eventual world that we're all moving towards. So centralized data and figuring out constant ways as a very small team to actually use and arbitrage these opportunities using AI is huge for us, especially with customer service, because of our price point, we want to make sure that the responses that each of our customers is being handled with is with extreme care, with extreme thoughtfulness, and that premium nature that a lot of them are already used to from the other brands that they shop at.
Amazing, and yeah, those are some of the things that we're thinking through at Fermat as well, how we can make, an AI bot, who we call Pierre, kind of your brand brain and help to provide further insights into what's happening on your funnels and within your data. Amazing, we may have time for one question, if anyone has anything.
Hi. Pierre, you mentioned that by being less ambitious with experimentation has helped your team. Are you limiting certain variables, or are you simplifying your tests in a way where you're potentially getting clearer insights by doing so?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what we're doing is really starting at, testing what is a true consumer insight versus like where this button should be or what copy it is. So we like to start with very broad messages and approaches and less about kind of the 500 different things that you could vary here, and that to us makes it a lot more scalable. Because like, okay, this seems like a dead end. This seems more promising. Now within here, how much more could we do? I'll give you an example. We just launched a beverage called Off Duty, which is a beverage additive. We were seeing phenomenal click-through rates on our meta ads, and it was like dropping dramatically on our landing pages. And we'd gotten the message sort of totally wrong. We did a couple of quick tests of very different approaches, and that helped us nail one that was literally 4x better improvement within a few days. So great. So stop testing anything else within those other domains. Focus on that, and then refine it there. But we had to have a consumer insight to know which of the 3 different angles or approaches there might work. It's nice when you get things wrong. Well, no, it is, because at least it means like you can learn from it. So we value those I don't want to call them screw-ups, but we value where we've gotten it wrong just as much.
Yeah, learn fast.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate the time.